Hello. Angel blessings, everyone. My name is Dr. Joe Vertino. I am a professional Reiki master. Spiritual guide is my main title. And I'm also an author and a musician. Uh, I have often been heard saying, my greatest joy is healing. So this video is addiction and affliction. So in this way, we don't need to scrutinize the words, to start or at all. We'll see. I suppose who knows the future of this video. But another thing I've often, been heard saying is it's important for us to know that we're doing something good, that we are allowed to tune in with ourselves and compare and contrast where we are, uh, maybe not just in the bigger scheme of things, but right now, the action that we're participating in life with, and that this is a guaranteed good one, and that it's okay to just allow yourself to be in that place of knowing that whether you're struggling with something like addiction and or affliction or not, it's still true. Um so the next thing that I need to say in this wonderfully important video is basically that I fully acknowledge how serious this is. That this entire uh, thing, for some people, is the topic of this video. This thing being like life, right? Their life becomes or is now about this, and that's maybe we could say difficult to say about maybe anything else, right? Sometimes we could say that way, that how many things are where we're born and then something takes over, our life, our lifetime, in that way. So it is also okay for us, after hearing that this is a serious thing, for us to allow the response to happen. There is a word for that, uh, that's called validation. So validation is if someone we all have our personal experience of life, right? That's just ours, that we could call our subjective experience, and that basically that uh, the the natural way that human is that having a response to that in any kind of way, instead of it being ignored as if it isn't real, is a need, right? That's called validation. So even and in particular with something that is an affliction, right? That being the case, that being real, right? And then that being recognized or responded to, we could say in the environment or the surroundings or other beings, um, is a very important aspect of sanity and life and progress and healing, well-being generally. So this entire video is that every single addiction and affliction I hear now recognize, and that in that way we already know that I'm someone who, even though we're only 4 minutes into this video, if this is the only video you've ever seen of me, we know that this person isn't going to share something of a condition, right? And like in a relationship, right? That they have to get something from you in order to continue, or they have to demand something uh about them and put it onto you, right? Or any of these kind of conditions, right? This is why love is called unconditional love, right? And love does count as medicine. And so in this way, that basically we can say we are sharing in this time of love together, you know? So that we are acknowledging naturally, right? Our intention is being somewhat focused, at least in this experience together on this video, and that there's acknowledgement. So acknowledgement meaning that basically our attention is in a certain position, and that position is that there is uh, a value to what is being perceived, and there that you can say further that then states or proves or concludes that there is value, to life. Now, this is, like I said, very personal, but it's not personal in the sense that I don't know you. I'm not having a conversation with anyone, right? During the recording of this video, absolutely no one is here. There may be a cat within 10 feet, and that's it. So in this kind of way that basically you or everybody, I guess I should say, is able to see and perceive into me, Dr. Joe Vertino, as a spiritual guide, and that what you are perceiving, we could say, is healing work, spiritual guidance, wisdom, right? When we think of the word enlightenment, that has to do with, if we take it semantically, or kind of you look at the different parts of the word, right? So in, instead of out, even in, light, like a candle, right, has light, and enlightenment. And in that kind of way, you could say the end of the word, meaning that there is a solidity to it, there is a structure to it, maybe like a permanency. So light being housed rather than excluded, rather than excommunicated, right? The light, right? Now, what's the light? The light is it's not particularly us or a person or any person, but it's real, and it's something that can become of us. It's something that we can move into, right? I think maybe is the most important way to understand it. It has to do with our progress, right? In that way. So very much appropriate, in context of this video, addiction and affliction with me, Dr. Joe Bertino. So in this way that basically enlightenment, now what is it that we could be looking for in life generally? We could say something that stays there, something that has staying power, something that has a foundation to it that we can sit and stand and sleep on, right? Something that has a solidity, security, right? Like the people at the bars who keep the bars safe, where we could go drink at, security guards, right? That's what they're for. So in this kind of way, it's a human thing that, so the security guards have to do with external safety, external security in this way. And if we understand that reality just is, right? So there's no escaping reality. And we have our inside, like enlightenment, right? Enlightenment. And that basically, that the reality in that way is still true inside of us. So the security isn't wrong. Reality can't be wrong. And it doesn't mean that we are wrong or our needs are wrong, right? So this need of security, how do we meet that need inside? How do we do that? So in this way, addiction and affliction are things that we can say we don't have to identify with them, but we can understand ourself in context of them. So those things aren't us. The place that we're feeling we need security deeply and truly is like our heart, is us. But those things, addiction and affliction, aren't in there. They aren't in there. But yet they're still here. There's still a possibility, in life. And what we want to share in isn't those things, isn't addiction and affliction. What we want to share in, or what we want to manifest more and multiply, like, wheat in the field, is the reality, right? So our needs of who we really are, right? If we ignore those, are we agreeing with reality, or are we agreeing with confusion? So in this way, there's so much information already just in this video of 11 minutes, and I'm not sure how much longer this video will be, but in that way, as truth is, the needs that are trying to be met, all the time in that way are are um are there, are present, are real. And that in that way, that the listening to them, which is really the listening to ourself, to our true self, is really what is going on, is really what reality is about, you know? And in that kind of way, now you can start to understand, maybe even like a very big word, another serious thing, another one is religion, right? What things are really about, you know, and that tuning in with yourself and that, reality and all of these things. And it's better off to be overwhelmed with reality than it is with anything else. And there are other things, as we know in addiction and affliction, right? That there are other things. There are many, many other things, not just to mention alcohol and drugs and people, right? But there's so many things. If you look around, bed, phone, windows, cars. Think about the cars, places they go, jobs, friends, reason, and then all of this kind of is something that is here, and all the thingness, in that way. And that basically that um addiction and affliction in that way uh is not going to save us from those things, the multitude, the multiplicity, the magnanimity of the things, right? So in this way, us tuning in with reality. Now, how many things with an S is reality? One thing. It's one thing. So even if you have a lot of things in this existence and they're good things, so to speak, you still will eventually want to come back into this place of reality because of the sense of relief. Tuning in with reality, what's real, just being here and allowing the um there to be a connection with it. And your soul craves that, right? We all do. We all crave that reality, the truth. And just like we could say that our addiction and affliction seems to not want to give up or not want to end, just like reality is guaranteed, so to speak, to never end. But what reality doesn't do is have this teeth, like a shark that digs into us, right? That's not in reality. That's not it. But we are, right? We are our feelings and thoughts. We are. So that's why, how do you know what you aren't addiction itself? You aren't the affliction itself. you are alive. And I pray that when we hear that word, that there isn't a pain. You know, as I put on my website, I put a quote that says, what did it say? The truth is here yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I pray that just like the sun, it's there all the time, that never would there be a day that it would bring you pain. Basically, this kind of thing, you know, in that way. And it is very okay for us to look at addiction and affliction. And as I'm saying that, I'm putting my hand out away from myself. Addiction and affliction. And my hand is here. And that basically in this way that the looking is like listening, right? Even though we might not feel like we're glistening with the G yet, the looking and the listen and the looking at the addiction and affliction is like listening. And listening, we're not even making a choice really, right? So in this kind of way, you can start to understand, perhaps we can call it the benefits of spirituality in this way. And the benefits of spirituality in replacing things that are involved in addiction and affliction is that spirit is not a physical thing. So you can't have it in that sense that it's there and I have it and I can hold it and it's mine and I have it. I'm in control of it. And so that it can become an item of addiction. Right? So in that kind of way, but it's something that we can grasp and desire and go towards and cling to, but it's just not something that can be used like other things can in addiction and affliction. It's not possible. So anyways, as I said, this video is very, very serious. And, you know, it's one of those videos we might as well try to not make it unserious, right? Yeah. So, we're at 18 minutes long so far in this hopefully wonderful for you too also video. I have tons of videos. I have a beautiful website, www.joevertino.org, which is in the description. I highly recommend guided meditation. Guided meditation in context of this video, if you have time to go to those after this, I have them in my YouTube and they are also in my website. And this vibration of the guided meditation will start to give you a foundational step. What that means is that, as I said earlier, what are we craving? We're craving stability, security, foundation, reliability, naturally, as we're supposed to. But we can get into a place in ourself, in our life, where it's a things, right, that becomes somehow meeting some kind of thing like the foundation, right, which we can call addiction. So what's happening is that in this way, the thing doesn't have to be there, right? But your need of the foundation and security and stability is still there. And as you start to turn your attention towards something like guided meditation, we could say instead, then you are you are allowing that spirit, like I mentioned the word enlightenment, right? That this eternal thing that we can't use, like we can use a syringe, right? If we're addicted to heroin, right? A drug, that we can't use it in that same way to harm ourselves. And something that does come up is a helplessness in addiction, meaning that I do not want to hurt myself, but it seems that me taking control ends up becoming painful and hurtful and harmful, right? So, in this thing of guided meditation, there is no such thing in the middle like a syringe with the people around it, right? And you're all here, right? So, guided meditation in this way is thingless, but yet it has a kind of, we could say, a pervasive, inclusive, communal, beneficial, purposeful nature to it. And it's something that instead of you doing nothing or playing dead after being maybe identifying or having a difficult experience like addiction or affliction, that you can take your energy and take your life and go in this direction with it. And that in that way, that the beauty of life is that we don't have to know what heaven is like before we get there. Because something else that can happen with addiction and affliction is we get into a place of pressure, right? Pressure. You get into a place of pressure, and in that way, like that phrase I just said, heaven, right? Us getting to heaven is life, so to speak, that there's an unfoldment going on of experience and knowledge and relationship with God and or other people or squirrels, right? Or our own feet, like in yoga, Tai Chi Qigong, right? So basically, in this way, that we don't need to push ourselves towards heaven with this pressure inside of us that we have to get there and we have to make it, in the sense of clinging so hard, pulling the future like a blanket up towards yourself, towards your face on a cold night. No. And in that way, you know why? The reason for that, you can understand this from the advice I gave of guided meditation, that you being here matters because you matter. That's why you know that that isn't right. Letting yourself letting yourself have yourself, letting yourself knowing that no one else can have you. So, like I said, this video is very serious. It's been 24 minutes of serious help, truth, reality, and a good choice. So, addiction and affliction is something that I pride myself on being able to take seriously, to be able to help people around, in, about the area, as a master healer, Reiki master, and a spiritual guide. I find it very appropriate for people to cling to this kind of content. And that if you are someone who hasn't struggled within, the common sense use of words, of language, hasn't struggled with addiction and or affliction, by all means, enjoy this video fully, right? It could be because there's a person who exists that is this way. And it makes me happy because that means the world that my kids are living in, right, is going to be a better place, right? That's fine. That's wonderful. You should be proud in that way. And of course, for the people that are or have struggled with addiction and affliction, we could say of which there are many, many different forms or names in that way, differences, different things, right? That it is very, very appropriate for you to watch this video. And it is very appropriate for you to allow yourself to take it seriously and listen to every single part. It is so appropriate. So in that way, if you want to know what I'm addicted to, the man making the video, Dr. Joe Vertino, what I'm addicted to is spiritual love. The kind of love that raises your hands to your heart and puts them into prayer. That's what I'm addicted to. That's what's driving me in this video. And I am so comfortable sharing that about myself. So that's my prayer, that you now can begin that journey where you can move to become more comfortable permanently, so to speak, with your own self, with your own being, with your own sharing in that way, that this outward energy going into the world, coming only from yourself, can become more real, more confident, more safe to happen. And that it's your choice to share that. And you should be proud of yourself the way that God is proud of you and your personality. And people deserve to know you and see you and hear you actually. So, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I'm going to enjoy my smoke, and I've got a beautiful crystal here. This is called lapis lazuli, and it helps with the focus on the third eye chakra. And in that kind of way, that maybe this is like a reminder to some people in this video. I didn't remember focus. I didn't remember myself. I didn't remember my own mind. I didn't remember my own point. And it's always okay to remember. Bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you, bless you. So I hope you feel not overly serious. I hope you don't feel that way, but that you feel loved in an appropriate way, the way that only reality can love, the way that only the truth can love us. So I pray you don't feel hesitant about your next step in life, that you feel confident, have some focus, make one good choice. It's okay to just be there and have the attention as you are. And like I said, I have an entire website with guided meditations, music, podcasts, myself looking for work. I have books writing on the reform of the education system right now in November of 2025. Hopefully we'll go to print soon. And I have one book in print called My Own Religion, The Power of Love, a beautiful manifesto. So I mentioned that personal sharing and openness, and that's what manifestos are. They are only the person's personal sharing and experience in that way. So this video is a half an hour long right now, and I kind of do want to do a guided meditation in this video that we could do together. So we might as well do that. But yes. So if you feel so inclined, I'm going to Be still for a little bit here. We can have our hands on our near our chest. We can have our hands palm down, palm up, or in a plate, diamond shape, or a circle shape down near our hara. Our hara is a point of interest below the belly button that Zen masters and the like try to focus their all of the attention into. So if we have our palms and we have our palms down, this position is for I feel overwhelmed. I feel stressed. I feel full, even. And I don't want to take any more into myself. And that I also would prefer that it starts to process. And then palms up is I want to receive more from the universe. I feel a little bit empty or a little bit uneducated, even. And then we have the mudras we can do with our fingers like this, which is for wisdom, that I am desiring to bring in wisdom to grow in that manner, to grow in that way. So, and then simply allow yourself to recognize your spine and then have your hands in that still position, whichever one you choose. And you will just hear my voice and feel comfortable to close your eyes. And we will have a gentle time now of guided meditation together. So, it can be a task for us to allow, sometimes we could say, anything to occur. It can be a task for us sometimes to accept help. It can be a task, meaning that it can be challenging for us. And so I recognize that. And that we can allow it to be okay that we are here, that we are healing, that we are injured, or we are injured. That we have chosen to experience this 40 minutes so far together or alone. That it is not all our fault. That the world and its contents, and certainly my own voice, this voice that you're hearing, I know, is not all your fault. That you do deserve peace. That you do deserve grace. That you do deserve a long and healthy life. That you do have a past, no matter what. and that it is okay for us to allow the ideas about the future to end. That, as I mentioned earlier, in the midst of many words seeming to prove themselves with one another, I exclaimed, "You matter. Your feelings matter. Your thoughts matter. Your smile matters. Your frown matters. And we're just going to be still and not care about other people." So, as I mentioned about spirituality, it's something that we are allowed to cling to be desperate with our all of our being with. It's allowed. And that's what you're experiencing right now. It's called spirituality. So, anyways, enough with the stillness. Job well done. Know that you've made a good choice to stay in this video all the way through. The title being Addiction and Affliction. And that surely know that you have had an experience of truth. That perhaps we could say we haven't had that in too long. It's been too long since I've had an experience of truth. and that it is okay for us to be satisfied, to be happy with ourselves. And there are so many things that are okay like that in life, that there are lists. I told you it was going to be a serious video. So, anyways, let's take a few good breaths if your eyes are still closed like mine. Ah. And allow your eyes to open and allow your body to have your attention again. Put all of your attention onto your palms for a second if you wish. Turn them around. Beautiful, aren't they? Hands, aren't they lovely? Wonderful. But yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this beneficial thing for yourself. Yes, yes, yes. I pray that you feel acknowledged. Whether you are in that group who identifies as struggling or having something of addiction and affliction or not, I pray that you feel acknowledged. So thank you so much for tuning in. In the description of this YouTube video, there is my website, joevertino.org. JOEVERTINO.org. Bless you, bless you. I'm very proud of my ability to help you, to give you hope, to help you heal. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Peace be with you. Amen.